All right. Please let me know if the screen is visible to you guys. Is it visible? Yes, Vishal has raised his hand. Okay. All right, lovely. So now we'll begin. So now when we are talking about GRE verbal reasoning, yes, the first thing, of course, we are going to talk about today happens to be vocabulary. And in this session, particularly, we are definitely just going to focus on vocabulary itself. Okay. Now, let's talk about this. And now, when we are talking about what is this verbal section testing? Yes, this is the first thing. So we already know what the pattern is. There are three types of questions that we get. One is reading comprehension. Next happens to be sentence equivalence. And the third one happens to be text completion. Sentence equivalence and text completion are again both of them dealing with vocabulary. When we come to reading comprehension, of course, we have to read a passage, figure out the best answer possible, and choose that. So, on the surface, what is it looking like? That we have to focus simply on words and understanding grammar. Okay. But then there are these 4 or 5 things that need to happen. Now, I have tried to create these particular bullets. What are these bullets telling? Now, this is for all those who are starting off right now with the preparation, right? So this is more for your own internal assessment. Okay. Everyone has a different level with language. That is what I feel. Yes. The difficulty level, what your comprehension level is, how difficult you find this entire thing, that's up to you. This internal assessment needs to be done by you. Okay. This is one thing that we are starting off with our prep. We take up the books, we start practicing. I always suggest for anyone who is just starting out, take a week to simply sit down and analyze things. Okay. So these are the 5 things that they are looking for. And when you look at the material, when you start going through things, when you start with your lectures, these are the 5 things that you should check that, okay, am I facing problems in any of these points? If that is happening, then you need to work in that particular direction, right? So the first point is analyze and evaluate written material. Yes, very simple. Whenever you're looking at sentences, whenever you have to, let it be all the three, especially reading comprehension. So you should be able to understand what is given while you are going through your reading comprehensions, while you're trying to focus on, let's say, sentence completion, sentence equivalence, these two. It's very important to see whether you're able to understand the meaning or not. If at any point you feel that yes, that is not happening, so that is the first block. Then recognize relationships among words and concepts. So now what does this mean? Anybody? Recognize relationships among words and concepts? Anyone?
Like I think some particular words are like a brief of the main concept and they denote the main part of that concept. So like analyzing the link between the two, something like that.
Okay, very good. See, there are 2, 3 things, right? One is a vocabulary based question. When it comes to reading, at times this thing happens. I've seen students get stuck with the words. That the word was complicated, or let's say a sentence was pretty complicated, and then you ended up making a mistake in your answers. So, one more thing I'll tell you, that it's completely okay not to know all the words. It can happen that you might encounter a text, you might encounter a sentence wherein you do not know the words particularly, you have a faint idea. It's a very realistic situation that can happen, right? Now you're in your exam, you're solving this particular question, there is a possibility you get stuck, you do not know. So recognizing relationships between like words and concepts is very simple. Do not get stuck with the literal meaning. Yes, focus on the overall thing. See how they are correlated. What is the essence that you are able to drive out from it? And based on that, also, you can have a very good guess. Yes, but do not get carried away in that direction. This is only for the situations wherein we know that, okay, yes, right now you need to understand the overall situation that is developing in this particular question. Yes. Now, third happens to be analyzing sentence component relationships. Now, what is sentence component relationships? Yes, it's a very heavy word. So, ETS has given this thing, sentence component relationships, as a subject. Yes, it's in the syllabus. Essentially, what are we talking about? Focus. Now, this relates to grammar as well. Yes, when we talk about types of sentences, take a look at it. Okay, simple, complex, and compound sentences. How are the phrases coming in the sentences? What is this sentence essentially trying to say? If it's a complex sentence that has, let's say, multiple clauses coming in together, what is the relationship between them? Are you able to create them or not? That is also very important. So, this is specifically for all those who find writing a challenge. Yes, you can always read better and solve better if you're able to understand the structure. Yes. So if you feel that, yes, a longer sentence is getting a little confusing for me, or let's say I personally sit down and I start writing, am I able to frame a complex sentence correctly? Am I able to figure out the different components of it? That, oh, it's a phrase here, it's a clause here, and then this is a dependent clause that is coming in. Am I able to figure out these things or not? So, analyze the sentence structure. What is the relation that is there? Start doing this. So, little by little, your reading and comprehension is also going to increase. So, this is the third thing, which is important. Then, fourth is again, this is simply the objective of your exam, of any verbal exam. Yes, executive reasoning under time pressure. So, now what does this mean? Time management, of course, but apart from that, what is this executive reasoning? Anyone?
Like you are able to execute your reasoning under the given time without
Hmm.
any panicking and being calm.
Yes. And apart from that, one
So
very
you,
basic, yeah,
I feel
yes,
that you prioritize the questions that you just go through the entire. I mean, you just answer the questions that you get and then review the next for the later. I mean, once you after
yeah,
the questions that you got, and then it's like a strategy that you use in the exam.
good. Yes, correct. Very good. Yes. So what do you have to do? Make a good guess, right? Whether you should be investing your time in that question or not is another thing altogether. Do not get carried away with the questions at one go. Yes, like he correctly pointed out. So what you should be doing, first solve those questions wherein you know that, okay, yes, sure, this is my answer. And if you're stuck at a particular question, see whether how much time you should be allotting to that particular question. So you have to develop this particular thing through rigorous practice. Okay. So one thing that I can suggest for this, you can start it off like side by side. Yes, that is daily sit down for, let's say, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Take out time, sit down, put on a timer. Let's say decide to solve 10 questions, 20 minutes, 10 questions. An aggregate time that I always suggest students to target is 1 minute to 1.5 minutes per question. That's it. More than that, do not devote your time to that question. So if you're somebody who really struggles with this, what you can start doing is you can do two things. You can take up a random bank of questions, sit down for 20 minutes, take any 10 questions, solve them, and see how many went right. This is one thing. Solve all of them, see how many went correct. Then the next thing you can do is take another set, sit down. Now choose willingly which questions you want to solve, wherein you are a little bit sure that, okay, yes, this is my answer, and some of them leave them be. See how your result changed. So this is a practice that you can use. Yes, and this is very important. This is a key component in GRE. And then last comes in reading comprehension. So complex text, simple ideas. So this is a discussion that I've had with the students who have been here, yes, for longer. One very basic thing that you can start doing is, if you're someone who struggles with this, is paraphrasing. Okay. When you see the reading comprehensions, do not get overwhelmed, do not get carried away. Yes, of course, the essence is important, the meaning is important. However, do not get lost in the maze of sentences and words. Take a look at it and try to paraphrase it. This is a personal habit that you can make. Yes, if you're starting off with ETS, if you're starting off with GRE, Manhattan Prep, or any other resource, whenever you sit down with an RC, it could be for any reading comprehension. Apply this particular thing. The text is always comparatively complex because they want to confuse you with the wordiness. However, the ideas are pretty simple. So sit down and try to paraphrase that. Okay, if I have to summarize this particular information, let's say a typical RC is going to have four paragraphs. Try to summarize each and every paragraph in your own words. Okay, 2 to 3 sentences. Boil it down. What is the essence? What is being talked about? And if I have to say it in simpler words, how would I express it? Am I able to understand the entire idea or not? Not only will your comprehension become better, you will also understand that, okay, what is the thing that I have to look at? So you have to really declutter the information. A lot of things are given. You have to focus on your question. So these are the 5 points on which your GRE questions work. Okay, this is what they are testing. That is what we are talking about. So in order to do this, start doing these things. You know yourself best, so figure out what you really need to work on. Okay. Now, let's talk about how the questions are designed, because there are a lot of uh, new people. Yes. So, what are we talking about? There are 4 points that I have written here. Yes. Vishal, can you please read them out?
Yes, ma'am. So do you want me to read out the points?
Yeah, just the points.
Yeah, okay. So deliberate trap answers that fit tone but diverge in meaning. Related words that aren't equivalent in context. Rewards relationship understanding over memorization. Tests word function within sentences, not isolation.
Yes. So, what are these 4 points? This is how the questions are designed by these people. So, first thing is, do not go simply for the tonality. Yes, a lot of times we end up doing this thing that we go with the hunch. Okay, this is a possibility. ये हो सकता है. So there is no room for ये हो सकता है, right? At times it happens because it is our second language, right? So whenever we listen to words or we read words, we try to estimate a meaning, and more often than not, we are correct also. But then do not go on the tonality. Either you know the meaning or you do not know the meaning. In that situation, like I said, go back to paraphrasing. If you're stuck in any question in all the 3 types, okay? Paraphrase your sentence, see if you're able to figure it out. If not, that means then you should not be going for the second best answer. This happens a lot. Yes. Second thing, related words that aren't equivalent in context. So this is something that we are going to talk about moving on. Yes. We are going to talk about how there are words that are related, that come from the same root, that sound same. Yes, there are homonyms, homophones, there are paronyms. And because the words are related, they sound very familiar, or they are synonyms of each other, we tend to often confuse them, and we choose the next best thing because we feel that, okay, yes, this is a clear synonym or this is a clear equivalent. I've heard this word being used. And this is also where words often confused also sort of creeps in. So these are the second traps that you have to look for. Okay. Then what you have to look for? Understanding over memorization. Now, this is something very important because we already have been having our discussions on GRE, and one thing that we have discussed recently has been how do I have memorized words, but then I'm forgetting them after a period of time. And then, even if the person has memorized words, what is happening is when we are practicing the questions, at times you see the word, but you sort of go blank, right? So do not focus on rote memorization. Yes, there are ample of banks, GRE word banks. These are the words that need to be studied, that need to be done. Great. But also check and test your own capacity. Do not simply go for rote memorization wherein you're learning and then you're forgetting it later on. So focus on understanding, and this is something that we are going to talk about as of how can you correlate words and cover more base in lesser time. That is the third thing. And then tests word function within sentences and not isolation. So this is something again related to the previous thing that I said to you, that do not get stuck just on the words and their individual meaning. Contextual meaning is what they are going to look for. Yes. So there are, again, do not get focused on the literal meaning. We put in the word, we see how the word is functioning in the sentence, and is it of consequence or not? All the three things need to be taken care of. And that is when you choose your answer. So for all those who have just started off with the prep, are the things clear till now? Yes. What are the question types? How are they designed? What are they looking for? Clear?
Yes,
Great.
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. So now we are moving forward. So here again, I'm going to describe it a little bit in detail. Now again, this initial bit is also serving as your, I'll say, a core instruction for you as you move forward. So in your prep, you have to retain these things. Remember all of it. Okay, so this is going to be handy. Now, what are they doing? Again, now this, some of the ideas are applicable in just reading comprehension. Some of them are applicable in all the three: text completion, sentence equivalence, and reading comprehension. So the first point, we have already discussed it at length, that you have to translate complicated text into simple ideas. For this, I have already told you that start with paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is essentially taking an already published thing, rewriting it in your own words. This is a practice that you can do in general as well. Just take out any random passage from somewhere, see if you're able to paraphrase it. The moment you start to do that, you'll be able to do this particular translation. Yes? Then, determine how ideas relate to each other. Now, what does this mean? What ideas are we talking about? This is specifically for reading comprehension. Okay, so when we are talking about reading comprehensions, one thing that ends up happening is, of course, we are focusing on our questions, and our go-to approach is that we look at our question, we try to figure out the cues, and we try to answer it. But then at times we get confused. So whenever you are going through any reading comprehension, take a look at the passage and first think, what are the different paragraphs trying to do? How are they correlated? Okay. Of course, the entire passage is talking about one central idea or primary purpose that we of like is a question always. But then apart from that, let's say an example has been given, a case study has been given, some illustration is given. There is always this thing. A concept is introduced, we start talking about it, then there are certain examples that are given, there are certain data points that are given, there may be examples or comparisons that are happening, and then a conclusion is there, right? So multiple information subsets are created. Now, what do we have to look for? Think of 3 to 4 things. Why are these examples given to me? If a question is related to that, specifically, then it's very important as to what is it doing. Okay? Is it helping me understand the concept more? Are they trying to give us an illustration of how it works? Is that happening? Yes. If multiple ideas are being given, a concept has been introduced, now the pros and the cons and contradictory ideas, all of it is coming forward. Why are they given? Do they want me to do an analysis? Do they want to simply discuss this particular concept? So, analysis is one thing, discussion is another. Third, I said illustration. Are they simply trying to give us an example of how this is getting executed? Okay. Or fourth, it's simply an introduction and a basic discussion of this concept. Usually, around these 4 or 5 things, your RC is going to revolve. So determine how all of these different information sets that are coming in the passage relate to each other. Also, out of them, what is applicable for you? This is one more thing, of course. Half of the things get filtered once you look at your questions that, okay, these are the things wherein I have to pay heed. But within that as well, if there is a question that is a little vague, that is directly just addressing a paragraph or the passage in general and not focusing on the lines, there specifically, like, focus on your keywords. In every particular passage, this particular thing happens. So the construction happens to be such that if you look closely at your paragraphs, first two sentences usually serve as topic sentences of that paragraph. So you have a passage, reading passage 1. Now, paragraphs A, B, C, D, there are 4 paragraphs, let's say. Now, the look at each and every paragraph. So first two sentences always function as topic sentences. As in, they somewhere are hinting at what is the purpose of this particular paragraph, why it has been added here. Okay. Then you focus on the third or the fourth sentence that there is, and then you see that, okay, yes, the concept is being discussed or that idea is being explained further. The last sentence usually gives away the conclusion for that particular paragraph. So based on that, now here comes in the concept of para summary as well. Try to do that when you're sitting down with your RC, and if you're somebody who is really struggling with your reading comprehensions, you can do this thing. Take up each and every paragraph. Now see how much of this applies. Look at the first two sentences. Treat them as your topic sentences. Take the second, second, third, fourth sentence, whatever that is. See what it is doing. Again, okay, an explanation is being given. Why is it given? And then the last sentence of that paragraph is going to sort of summarize that problem for you, and you move on to the next point. Yes, the conjunctive adverb is given, moreover, furthermore, whatever, and the next point starts. So that is how you can relate different ideas and come to a conclusion as to what is being asked. Is this particular thing clear?
Yes,
Yes?
ma'am.
Yes,
Great. Now we move on to multiple meaning levels. Now, what are these multiple meaning levels? So, any particular text, now this applies to all the 3 question types or any vocabulary based question that you get. There are 3 things that are happening. Some questions will directly ask for the literal meanings. Either you know the meaning, you understand what that is, or you don't. Some talk about figurative meanings, and then is authorial intent. Now, what is happening here? When we talk about sentence equivalence, yes, here it's a mix of literal and figurative. When we talk about text completion, that is literal. And then when we talk about reading comprehension, so there again, you have all of these 3 types of questions. Either you are directly, a phrase or a word is highlighted and they can ask you what it means. Okay. Or they can ask you what is the figurative meaning, what is the implied meaning that the person is talking about. Or else directly you get a question about what is the author trying to say. Yes. So now how do we understand what are we trying to do here? Yes, 3 different things are happening. Now, what is let's say, what is the meaning of literal? What do we mean by literal meaning?
Pure.
Yes.
The dictionary meaning of a word.
Yes, correct. Yes. So let's say, let me come up with a sentence. And okay, let's say the the politician's words were a bombshell in the quiet town that led to sparking debates. Yes, okay. The politician's words were a bombshell in the quiet town, leading to sparking heated debates. Great. Now let's talk about bombshell. Yes, the literal meaning would be, what is the literal meaning of a bombshell?
Like something, some type of ammunition or something like that.
Right, right. An explosive.
Yes.
Then we have the figurative meaning. So the moment I say this particular sentence, so in this particular context, in the context of the sentence, it would essentially mean that perhaps this person said something which was shocking. Maybe it caused a stir. Maybe it was something disturbing that shouldn't have been said. Yes, there are different meanings that are coming up. If this sentence was put in a particular context and we have a whole story with us, then we can understand as to what it means. But these are the basic ideas that are coming in our mind the moment we are reading this sentence. Now, this meaning that we are coming at, this is the figurative meaning. Yes. The last one happens to be the author's intent. So now what is the author trying to say if let's say this is the sentence for us? Or what did I intend to say when I said this sentence?
Something controversial has been said by the politician.
Right. So otherwise we can say that yes, maybe it would have been something peaceful, but then whatever the politician has said happens to have created a stir. So these are the three different things that are. So when you're starting off with your prep, start to look at your sentences because you're getting a complete sentence framed in front of you. Not every question is going to have all of these three levels. It largely depends upon the kind of vocabulary that you encounter. Some places things are very simple, it is what it is. So it will get over at the literal level. At places that won't happen. So don't go reading in between the lines way too deep, but then look at the words that are being focused at, and based on that, then you can decide that, okay, what do I have to do here? Understood?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? All right. So now we move on to the next part, that is, how do we build our vocabulary bank? Very important for all those who are struggling with vocabulary. With those who are good at it, great. But this is one method that I have been personally using with the students for the past 2 years, and this is how we have been working on it. So now you can see I have written four things in front of you: paronyms, synonyms and antonyms, homophones, and homonyms. Let's get the concepts cleared for us very quickly. Yes, here a very concise meaning is written. Let me see. Kritika,
Yes, ma'am.
can you please just very quickly read out the meanings that are written?
Word relationship types. Paronyms, similar spelling, different meanings, except. Synonyms and antonyms, words with similar or opposite meanings, enhancing vocabulary. Homophones, words that sound the same but have different meanings. Homoyons, same spelling, sound, different meanings. Bank.
Right. Now, what is happening? These are the four things that happen. Now, what is this? Why are we discussing this? There is a very basic technique that I follow, and I'll recommend everyone who really wants to expand their vocabulary. Essentially, what we end up doing, we take up the words, we see the meanings, we look at synonyms and antonyms if we want to, and that's it. We move forward with the next word, or we take up words together. Let's say that I'll sit down and I'll do these 15, 20 words that I came across. I'll do each one of them and then get it done. It's up to you if you want to use this particular method. I personally find it very effective. So instead of doing all this, one thing that you can do is very simple. You take up one word initially. Yes. Now, see if that word has all of these five components or not. Some words will have all the five components. Some words will not. Now, what are the five concepts? First is synonyms. Very simple, similar meaning words. Antonyms, opposite words. Yes. We extend this further to paronyms, homophones, and homonyms. So, what are paronyms? Similar spelling, different meanings. This is very, I've simplified it here. Essentially, they these are words that would stem from the same root, but then they will have very different meanings. So, accept and accept. You can see structurally their suffix is similar, yes, but their prefix is different. So the meanings have changed. They're sounding similar. The structure happens to be pretty similar morphologically, but then the meanings happen to be different. Another example that is coming at the tip of my tongue at the moment could be sensual and sensuous. Both are very different. Coming again, stemming from the same root. In essence, they might sound similar as well, but their meanings are very different, right? So that is known as paronyms. Structurally similar, but then different meanings. Then homonyms and homophones, of course, we always tend to get confused about this. So homophones. Phones leads to phonetics, means sound. Words that sound similar. Very simple examples. Two. T-O, T-O-O, T-W-O. Structurally or spelling wise, they're different, sounding extremely similar. That's homophones. And then homonyms. Nyms again. So synonyms, antonyms, paronyms, homonyms. We are talking about spelling and structure. So homonym, literally the same spelling, different meanings. Are all the five definitions clear to everyone now?
Yes,
Great.
ma'am.
Yes. So synonyms, antonyms, paronyms, homophones, homonyms. Five concepts are here in front of us. So now one very basic thing that I tend to do is that I suggest that you take up one word, sit down with it. Let's say you decide on choosing three. All of us have used the thesaurus. It's very simple. Take up best three, four synonyms, best three, four antonyms. See if it has a paronym or not. Wonderful exercise to do if you want to understand contextual meaning of a word. And then if it has a homophone or homonym, existing homophone or homonym. So you have to dig in and take a look at your resources. Thoda sa research based approach hai ye, but very effective. So you take up one word and you end up figuring out this tree. Relate to that. You have five concepts. Let's say a word does happen to have all of these five. So 336 plus, let's say, the homonyms, homophones, and paronyms. You started off with one word, you branch out to 10 to 15 more words. And now what happens is, you know how they are correlated to each other, what are the nuances, are they different from each other, are they not? So this method really works. If you start applying this particular method, whatever vocabulary or meaning based questions you're going to get, you will be able to solve them much better. Okay. And initially it feels a little troublesome that, okay, I have to sit and make this. But if you start practicing it, so then slowly you pick it up and you start observing these things. That, okay, these are the synonyms that are coming in. Okay, these are the suffixes or these are the prefixes that are coming together. These are the root words that are coming together, and you will very quickly be able to at least estimate and make good guesses. So, a very effective exercise. In case you feel that, okay, yes, I'm learning the words, but I'm forgetting it, don't simply go for the meaning. Instead, try this method, see if it works out for you. Understood this method? Yes? 5 things: synonyms, antonyms, paronyms, homophones, homonyms.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Under homonyms, the example that you've given, bank and bank. One bank being a verb, right? Am I right?
Yeah, it can have different meanings. No, it's a river bank also. Then bank is a noun as well. And
Right.
so within nouns also it's nuanced. Yes, and then we use it as a verb as well. So homonym, again, as many meanings, as many parts of speech that there can be, great.
Right.
Okay. All right. So we're done with this. Now we'll apply this. Yes. So I've taken up this word, okay, a very common word that you get to see in various exams. Okay, so tenacious. This means holding firmly. I have put out uh, all the meanings and everything right now for us so that it becomes easier for us to quickly take a look at it. So I took out one word, I was practicing my GRE sheet, and I sat down. Now I brought out the synonyms very quickly. Um, Kanan, can you read out the synonyms?
Synonyms: persistent, determined, resolute, steadfast, and unyielding.
Great. Yes. Then antonyms as well, please. Thank you.
Yielding, flexible, irresolute, wavering.
Right. So typically when we are practicing vocabulary, we limit ourselves to this. Synonyms kar liye, antonyms kar liye, we are done. It's a wrap. But then this is what we can do. We can sit down, we can see paronyms, and then I have put in the context because here there were no homophones or homonyms attached to this. But paronym tha. So I put in the paronym. Now the paronym is tenuous. This is another word. They are sharing the same root. However, this word means something completely different. In fact, it's an opposite, right? So now, tenacious and tenuous, the moment I see them, I'm not going to get confused. I got a new word, I got a new nuance. I understood that, okay, yes, this is a word that is somewhere structurally similar but meaning completely different. And I added this to my dictionary. Yes. The word family. So I've added the word family for this. What are the other words that I can see? So what is the word family? Essentially, the different parts of speech that exist. So यहाँ पर एक बहुत ही basic सा concept आ जाता है, grammatical concept है. If you're somebody who struggles with this, please, I personally find it to be a great trick. You take up a word and you see. जैसे एक simple example है, let's say happy, right? Happy, happily, happiness, right? 3 different variants. What are they doing? Yes. How are they different? So revise your parts of speech, and then if your parts of speech are already pretty strong, then yes, don't use the parts of speech simply to just figure out that, okay, this word, will it fall in the adjective family? Will it be a noun or will it be a verb? Instead, take the word and see how many versions of it exist. Some words are going to have all four, some words are going to have just two versions. That's it. So the many a times this thing happens that uh, we end up thinking that, okay, maybe this is a word, and then we later on come to know that, oh no, this is not a word, right? So use parts of speech this way. So word family, you can add that, okay, there is an adverb as well, there is a noun as well. So I've added it here. And then you can put in a context. You put in a sentence, see how this particular meaning is coming in light. Works? So we started off with one word, we ended up with almost 12 more. Yes? We'll take one more example. Ephemeral. So here again, synonyms and antonyms, we have them in front of us. Now what I did was, I dig up a little, I added the etymology for it. Okay, you can do it, you don't want to do it, it's completely fine. This is how I personally do it, and I tell people to do that, because that way only your jargon gets better. That's it. Okay, so your personal register, you need, if you want to expand it and you want to make your vocabulary learning a little more engaging. One of the reasons why I do this is that just learning the words and the meanings can get very boring and a tedious process. So just in case you want to make it better, you can add the etymology for it, and then the context. So always remember, if you're understanding a particular meaning, yeah, let's say you take up a word, you see there are two, three meanings to it, or two, three functions of it. It's being used in different ways. Take up sentences, add them for your reference, because when you will be revising them later on very quickly, or you want to do a brisk revision, maybe you can simply look at the contextual sentences and you will get the meaning. Once this, initially for the first 40, 50 words, this is more of an exhaustive exercise. But while you have done that, in that,
Ephemeral. Ephemeral.
you have to put yourself on mute. Okay. All right. So, understood this? Yes. We move on to the next thing. So, text completion. This is a very important question in GRE. Yes. Now, how many of you personally struggle with text completion or have tried it and found it difficult? Just simply, you can do a show of hands for me. Okay. All right. So now, what are we doing when we talk about text completion? Text completion is a sort of fill in the blanks for us, right? So these are four things that work, four factors that work in text completion. So flag the hinge. Flag the hinge is essentially what? I always tell this thing, focus on your adverbs alone, conjunctive adverbs, connectors, and phrases. Okay, I have given here just two examples for now. Okay, that it could be a contrast, it could be a cause and effect, but in general, all the conjunctive adverbs, they bring in different meanings. So focus on your conjunctive adverbs. How are my sentences structured? Or if there are any particular phrases that are turning into a giveaway. If that is given, that is one way you find your clue that, okay, what essentially am I looking for in this sentence? Second is predict in plain words. Now, before seeing options, again, this is related to paraphrasing. So before you start off with your text completion question, take a look at the fill in the blank sentence, paraphrase it. Predict it in your own plain words. अपनी simpler jargon में उसे बोल के देखो, that is the sentence making sense to me? Am I getting the meaning correct or not? You will somewhere start getting the hint. Then, now match and verify. This is more of a stylistic fit, like I've written. Very simple. You take a look, you see the meaning, you see the words, you try to figure out the meaning, and logically you put in the correct sentence. Either that works. And last, and this is a very different thing, but then it is always applicable on these questions, global coherence. Okay. Now, what is global coherence? There are two, three meanings to this. So one is multiple blanks must work together. So if in text completion you are getting multiple blanks, two blanks, three blanks, again, take a look at your words. The whole thing should make sense together. Do not go ahead and look at the individual sentences and choose your words. Look at the complete thing. If there are, let's say, three blanks, that sort of a question pops up. Take a look at the entire thing, try to paraphrase it. So here you mix it with predicting things in plain words. Mix it all up, try to see what meaning is it trying to say overall, and based on that, you will get all the three or the two that are there. Another thing of what this means is that on the surface, they might look different, but then Usually, the word choices are such, or your answers happen to be such, that for majority that is true. Yes, this is an objective exam. So at times, your answer choice might be the most obvious thing. Do not overread things. Okay? Take a look at your sentence, analyze it, paraphrase it, see how all the three are coming in together, if they are making sense or not. Yes, if at places you feel that that is not happening, then in that scenario, global coherence also refers to that the higher meaning must prevail. So there will be a basic common essence to your sentence. You should be able to get it, and based on that, you should be able to answer. But these are certain things that help you reach the answer. For building the vocabulary, we have just discussed these methods. Start doing them and then apply these particular things. Because there are also words often confused that are given. Similar meaning words are given to make your choices difficult. So that shouldn't happen. Clear? Yes? All right. So now I move on to sentence equivalence. Now, what is happening in sentence equivalence? Yes? Anyone? Text completion is about fill in the blanks. Sentence equivalence is about keeping the meaning intact, conveying the same meaning but changing the words. Correct? So again, we are focusing on vocabulary. But for this particular uh, question type, the thing that I told, how you have to build your vocabulary, that is really going to come in handy for this. Yes? So first is, of course, predicting the idea. So you look at the overall sentence, you try to understand what it's trying to say, and then you go for your options. But this one happens to be a little too tricky in the sense, now I have written here true synonyms in context, not just related words. Yes, very important. Okay, so what are true synonyms? Okay, there are words that sound very similar, that mean pretty similar. They are also synonyms. Okay, when we open our thesaurus, we always see 15 to 20 words are given as synonyms. But then when we start reading the definitions of those synonyms, we see how different they are in their meanings. So the degrees of meaning change. So do not be impulsive when you're making your answer choice. Okay, go through all of it, see what is essentially keeping the essence intact. The words that help you keep the meaning intact, choose that word. So do not go for the structure in this particular one, in sentence equivalence. Do not go for structure, do not go for, okay, yes, I've heard this word being used. At times we also do this thing, there are words often confused and stuff like that. Take your sentence, paraphrase it. Paraphrasing again comes to your rescue. Take up the meaning. Now you know the essence that is being delivered, whatever word. And if in case, let's say you do not know the meanings, you've come across a question wherein you do not know the meanings and you really want to attempt this question, then go for elimination. There will be certain words that you have an idea of. Go for elimination. Eliminate your options. You will be left with best two. And then through that, but because now here I'm giving this suggestion in good faith that you are doing this or you will apply this when you have practiced enough. Yes. And now you are able to make certain good guesses. So in that scenario, then do this through elimination. So there is not just one way that, okay, yes, I need to know the meaning. Okay, fine. I do not know the meaning. Yes, there is paraphrasing that is happening. Third is, of course, I'm looking at the structure. I'm trying to make a guess. All three have failed. I go for elimination. I eliminate all the options that I feel that they are not. Based on that, I can go ahead. Yes. Again, I have stated this thing, avoid traps. So, superficially similar meaning, but then The pairs ultimately they do have a mix also at times, very similar meaning, but changes the entire essence of it. So do not go for that. I've taken in one example. Very simple example is here that the politicians dash remarks alienated voters. Very simple sentence. Okay. So now our prediction is yes, I've put in two words here that okay, I have to look for something that is negative, that is pessimistic, vote losing, something of that sort, which is causing a loss. I look at all of my options. Um, the best pairing that would go could be something related to inflammatory, could be related to provocative, could be related to something that is filled with angst. Yes, so that essence becomes key. Prediction में भी जो हमारे वर्ड्स हैं वो बहुत सिमिलर एसेंस के हैं बट देन जो पेयरिंग होगी वर्ड्स की उनका मीनिंग इज अ लिटिल डिफरेंट यस बिकॉज द रिमार्क्स हैव टू बी लाइक दैट सो प्रिडिक्शन में मैंने एसेंस को लिया what is the essence of this sentence, what is the emotion that I'm looking for, or what is the ultimate meaning, what is the result. And then for the correct pair, the words that have been given are adjectives that are going well with the noun remarks. So both the things work together. Clear? Sentence equivalence? Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt you. I just had a doubt. So if
yeah.
we see, so you are like for in the prediction, you figured out the essence of the word that you need to put in here, right?
Hmm.
So, but then if we go that way, pessimistic, let's say I figured out that the essence here, and then pessimistic remarks often, let's say, often it also creates agitation among people. But then
Hmm.
this inflammatory or provocative also means agitation for agitation, right? So how do I decide between the
Right.
prediction and the correct pair there?
Yes. So now what will happen? Of course, right now I have not given you a detailed, let's say, four options thing, right? When you get your options, they are much more evident, they are clearer. What I meant with prediction and correct pairing is that the prediction, see, the prediction part is telling you the mood or the sentiment of the sentence. Okay. As to what is the higher meaning, what should it result in, what is the temperament of this sentence, what kind of words should I be going for. Yes,
Yes.
so this is
Yes.
more related to meaning. Okay,
Okay.
now I
Okay.
come
Yes.
to the correct pairing. When I come to the correct pairing, यहाँ पे आ जाएगा grammar. So
Hmm.
of course I know now कि मुझे इस टाइप के मीनिंग, इस टाइप के सेंटिमेंट, इस टाइप के रिलेटेड रिलेशन में कोई वर्ड चाहिए. आई एम लुकिंग फॉर समथिंग लाइक दैट और अ पेयर लाइक दैट. When I go to my pairs, I look at them. एक चीज होगी सबसे पहली, there will be pairs that will not be a good match. One word is like they could be synonyms, they could be well paired, but again जो ये तीसरा मेरा पॉइंट है that avoid traps. There could be words, वो pairs भी इस तरीके से designed हो सकते हैं that you look at the two words and you go like, oh, this is like a nice fit. I know that these are synonyms or I've heard that they are similar. So you end up choosing that. यहाँ पर आ जाता है पूरा grammar. Yes. So you first and foremost, now you know the tone, you know the sentiment. You take a look at your pairs. Now here you get logical. First, you evaluate your pairs. How are they functioning? Is it a good pair? Is it a weak pair? Take a look at that. Then you go ahead. Now you go for a particular pair. You see both the words. The words are similar and not similar. They are meaning the same in essence. And then I look at the structure. अब यहाँ पर my focus happens to be the word remarks. So now I have moved away from meaning and essence to a very basic thing that I am looking at a word remarks. My noun happens to be remarks. I need words that go really well in context to remarks. यहाँ पे अब देखो कि पूरा सेंटेंस ही फेड आउट हो गया है. The alienation, the voters, the politician, all of it now has reduced, and I'm simply looking at what is that word that would go well with remarks and would complement it the way the sentence intends to do it. And hence, then I make my informed choice. Clear?
Ma'am, is
Yes, ma'am.
antagonizing a good answer?
Yeah?
Is antagonizing a good answer?
Your voice is breaking.
Is antagonizing a good answer?
Yes, if that's an option that is given, then of course, why not? But then you'll have to look at the pair, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If the pairing is good, then you go for it. Supposedly the pairing is not good. Let's say pessimistic pessimistic and antagonizing. Are they going similar? Like, do they have the same essence? No. Are you understanding? Pessimistic मैंने meaning में रखा है कि ये sense है, ये tone है इस sentence का. But the moment I am choosing my words, so with my remarks, is the pairing going correct? Pessimistic and antagonizing, can they go together? No. But antagonizing and inflammatory?
Yes.
Yes. So while all of these words are meaning similar, they look similar, वो सब बात तो वही हो रही है. But then my pair went correct in the sense that I have to take up a pair that is going well with the word ultimately that I have to describe. Or where is it getting placed in the sentence? Clear हुआ? So your pairs have to be perfect. Got it? यानी कि exact replacement है. If I replace A with B, nothing is changing in my sentence. That is the idea. Got it?
Yes.
All right. So now I have taken up one example for all of you. Just in general, whatever we have been talking till now about vocabulary, what to do, what not to do. Yes. So this is a sentence in front of us. Very quickly, I'll just read it out. Fine. So the artist who chose a warm hue for the sunset, but worried a chemical taint might spoil the color of the paint, affecting the final tint and creating an unwanted shade. A very poetic line in itself.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, what is happening? Just look at all the words. Superficially, haven't we seen all of these words being used interchangeably? Majority of them. Hue, paint, shade, tint, color, very similar meaning words. However, they all are different. This is a very great example for contextual learning. So, very quickly, who will tell me what is the meaning of hue?
Ma'am,
Quick.
can I?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I guess it is. I'm just assuming that it might be some sort of shade, or
But then why do we have shade in the sentence?
because he's describing the sunset. Whenever we're talking about the sunset, it's the description, I guess.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yes.
So now I'll like good try, good attempt. Very quickly, I'll walk you through all the
Does it
4-5 things.
mean
Yeah.
any color, particular color, orangish color, or maybe
But
reddish?
yes, okay, good. You're close enough, correct. See, what is happening? Color. The word color happens to be very general. So general term for anything that you look at. The first thing we people describe is a color of something. Yes, that, oh, it was red or it was reddish or brown or whatever. Fine. So color is a very general term. What our eyes see in the first go, that is known as color. Now, when I come to hue Hue happens to be again very good. Shade again related to it, but a hue is a very specific shade or tone of a particular color. So a warm hue for the sunset means hue will be used, let's say by the painter, to talk about a very particular color code जो हम बोलते हैं, right? So even when you're designing things, you enter color codes, right? So that color code, that specific color code, that would be a hue. Okay.
Can we say
Tint.
like poetic way to uh, express dusk hue for the sunset?
Yes, sort of, yes, but again, a
Author
poetic
can
way
use
of
dusk also, no?
no, dusk is a very different thing.
Okay.
Okay, dusk dusk is a time period. Yes, so in artistic writing, of course, in creative writing, you can use that. But then right now, I'm talking about very similar sounding words having different meanings. So structurally, then it is very different. In creative writing, the rules bend. Yes, but if we are, I am very clearly looking at things from a very dry, logical point of view. So then color is a general term. Hue is a very specific tone or that particular shade that I'm talking about. It could be light, dark, whatever, but that particular shade, that's why I give the example of color codes. They are example of hue. Then I talk about tint. Tint always makes things lighter. So tint is any shade of a color when you're making it lighter. That's tint. Shade, shade is always a darker version. So that's the difference between a tint and a shade. Okay? Tint, lighter versions, shade, darker versions. Then what is paint? Paint is either your verb, yes, it's used as a verb, or it is essentially the substance that you're using to color. So paint can be a noun or paint can be a verb, depends upon the sentence that you're using. So paint is that. And last, I come to taint. So what does taint mean? Do not taint me. Of course, here it's written a chemical taint. So it can have a very basic meaning.
Does it mean interference or something?
No, taint essentially means anything that contaminates. That is why it is also figuratively used when if somebody is speaking ill of someone, we end up saying taint. Understood? So
Yeah.
we had different words together here. All of them felt very similar. All of them got placed in this particular sentence, and this is your perfect example for contextual learning. Yes? Okay. So now, very quickly, I move to another thing. This is another step that you people can use, and this is something very simple. I have been discussing this when we discuss synonyms, antonyms, homonyms, and homophones. So, word root strategy. So, this is another thing that you can use. If you want to, you can either do that, take up one word, relate things, or you can also try this method. So, what is this method doing now? Like I said, names. So I took up the suffixes together. You can group the prefixes together. So here I have taken up some examples. So let's say dict, port, scrib or script. All of these deal with some particular sentiment, or they are being used as a root for words that would relate to something similar. So diction, verdict, malediction, dictate, all of them are dealing with vocabulary related things to say. Port is to carry. Now import, deport, comport, transport, different meanings, but then that suffix is adding a particular meaning to it. Yes? Or then I have taken up another example. That is, I took up malediction. Now what I did, I broke it down. And the moment I broke it down, I can see, okay, So maladies, yes, malfunction, malware, malediction. So mal is bad. Diction, again, to speak, to say, to talk. So malediction. And then I've given you a context. So this is another way if you're somebody who feels that you're struggling with retaining the meaning instead of rote memorization. This is how you structure your words. Find it interesting? It's good enough. If you feel that this is a way that you are able to learn more words, do it better, then go ahead with this. This is another way to go about it. Very simple. Yes? Break down your words, group them as prefixes or suffixes or root verbs. Take a look at a list of words that might contain that particular ending, that starting, or that root word. Group them together, and then maybe you can do it like that. Clear? So this is another way of expanding your vocabulary. Very simply. Okay? Now, very quickly, we'll be applying whatever we have discussed till now. Right now, the meanings are given to you people. Okay? So, very quickly, we're going to solve this question. So, Jack pleaded, "Can I go on the roller coaster one more time, Mom? Please. I really, really want to. Pretty please. I'll do extra course this week. Please." This is the sentence. Now, what is the little boy trying to do? I have given you all the meanings right now, so it becomes pretty easy. So the meanings are given. What would be the correct answer?
Is it B?
Yes. Why?
Because persistently he's doing so, right?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the
Yes. Very good. Okay, somebody has said A. Okay. Anybody else who's thought that apart from B, this could be the answer? Yes. So now, what are you going to do here? If you're focusing on words, if you're practicing words, of course, right now everything is given to you. The meanings are given. The etymology is also given. It's like a fun fact for you. You can see and choose. So when you start solving the questions, now apply this particular method. Okay, you can take a look at the now here in these options. The four words matter. That's it. Gainsaying. Okay, importuning. Okay, disparaging, censuring. So you need to know the words. Now here again, censuring is very similar to censor. So there you have it. You have a homonym. Sorry, not a homonym, my bad, paronym, right? Now censure is very different than censor. So you can take a look at that. Yes? Importuning. So again, importune is related to, let's say, the words that are coming off at the tip of my tongue is again importune time, importune. So you can always go or refer to a different part of speech. Let's say misfortune, that is another thing altogether, very different meaning, something that I heard again. So this is also a way you can bring in both the things together. You can either very quickly think, have you heard similar words, and then start building your vocabulary, or you can very quickly look at the structure, see that, okay, what are they saying? Gainsaying, let's say I do not even know the meaning of what gainsaying is, but then I look at the prefix gain. Okay, so gainsaying is not something which is fitting this context in general. Okay, disparaging. So again, what is happening when we are disparaging? Then here again, this feels very different. There is raging that is being taken. So I have sort of tried to again break the word down. If I just look at this, so right now nothing is happening. A plead is going on, right? When I look at raging, so yes, rage, I could go in the direction that, okay, maybe he's making his mother angry or something like that. But then the word, even if I do not know the meaning, it's not fitting the context. Okay. Then I try to move to the best two options that are left. I look at importuning, I look at censuring. Here, of course, I need to know the meanings. Okay. Again, censuring might not go with this. Okay. Because censure and censor, related words, very different meanings, but although belonging to the same family. So see, how am I able to simply just do the predictions? Yes, that is what we should be doing. That is how we have to do it. Okay. We'll do one more practice problem. Okay. So you're hopeless. I cannot believe your files are in such disorder, the supervisor shouted. And this is what my supervisor would shout at me because I'm in my final year of the PhD. So I took up this. This is a personal example. So now we have 4 options in front of us again. Okay. Now again.
D.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other options? Okay. Great. So the correct answer would be, of course, D. Somebody who is harshly critical. So here my sentence was not that complicated, but my options were. Yes, I need to know the meaning very nicely, and then I need to work out. So here I could have done this if I'm somebody who does not know any of these words. A very simple word is bombastic in front of me. Bombastic is not making sense here, so I can eliminate. I'll use elimination. I'll take out this word. Yes. Then sententious. Fine. I do not know the meaning, but then this word is very similar to sentence, sentences. Again, it's not going with what sentence is trying to say. I remove it. Then I have effusive and I have opprobrious. So even if I don't know um, opprobrious, I can again try and think about similar words. Yes. So here you can see reproach is a word for that. So fine, even if I do not know the meaning, again, OPP, opposite, opposition, opprobrious. That means, okay, something that is going opposite, something that is going contradictory. My sentence seems to be a little contradictory. I might go for this. Okay, this is how your mind works when you start focusing on the language. However, of course, we need to take the words into account. We need to figure out the meanings. We can choose any of these, and then that is it. That is how you start working on your vocabulary. So, is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Great. So,